impressive, man. Feel how that's carved.
Yeah.
It's like got a big lump right here.
Yeah. I have a whole bunch of these.
Yeah, it's wild. But they can, yeah, they.
Exactly.
So this guy, he just comes in off the street.
Right, you know, this bum comes in off the street. That's a good joke. Okay, so we're here at Fodera in Brooklyn with Joey and Vinny and Jason, and we're going to talk just for a few minutes about a little bit about my relationship with the company for almost 10 years now.
10 years.
About right around 10 years, right?
Yeah.
10
You came here when you were 2 years old.
I was 2 years old, exactly. Right. So we've known each other for a little while. And there are a bunch of things that I want to ask you and that people want to know about. That I always get asked about, like your wood collection, for instance. I mean, it's pretty extensive and epic. I know whenever I've come in here to pick out a top or a body or something, it takes a while. How has that developed? That's something you've been developing over like many years.
Sure. Well, the wood is the most critical element of our work. And so it's very important to select the best possible material. And that naturally leads us on these never-ending crazy searches for the best stuff we can find. And it started at the very beginning of the business. We used to go to local lumber yards and practically beg the owners to let us pull out lumber and so we could pick the best boards. And it evolved into meeting other vendors who came to know exactly what we were looking for, and then they would look for it for us and send us samples and we'd approve it, and it's a lot of work, a lot more behind the scenes than people realize. You know, they come here and just see it sitting there, but it's an enormous amount of work to find, but very gratifying. It yields.
We would go to a wood
result.
wood store, and we'd sit there and come back with one plank of wood. And the guy would let us, you know, we became friendly with the owner. The owner would let us look in there. We'd go picking through the woods and say, okay, we'll take one.
Yeah, we're the classic cherry pickers. I mean, you know, and it's,
Cherry
as a
picking,
small
that's right.
shop that builds as few instruments as we do, the reality of it is we don't have the luxury of saying, okay, I'll take 50 boards that are okay and use them on these instruments to get those 10 boards that are
Send us
spectacular.
what you got. It
Right.
doesn't work
I mean,
that way.
it's like, yeah, I
Everyone.
really only want your best stuff, and I will pay for it, but if you send me anything less than extraordinary, it's going to get sent back.
Right.
And it's, luckily, our suppliers love us and love what we do, because otherwise I think they'd kind of say, you know,
Right. That's right.
I don't know that we're profitable to deal with, because there's so much time
Probably not.
and energy to pick those special pieces.
Right.
But it's fun, and they get a pleasure out of knowing that it's going to go on these kind of fine instruments.
So to go to the more to the end user experience, from the back office to the front office, how has your relationship with the various artists you've worked with over the past 20, 30 years, is it now?
30 years.
Almost 30 years.
Next
30
year
years
will be
next
30
year.
years.
Yeah.
Right. So how has that influenced the way you build the basses?
Oh, it's probably been the single greatest influence on us and our work, obviously. We've been extremely privileged to befriend some of the greatest bass players in the world.
That question wasn't aimed to elicit that response.
For example. And because we so respect their talent, we listen. We listen to what they say and what they need and what they suggest. And I think that may be our greatest skill or talent of all, if you will, that we pay attention to what people say. And then we eventually incorporate some of those ideas and suggestions into our work. And maybe that accounts for whatever success we've had.
And you know what happens also? The bottom line is the end result. You get the end result,
Right.
and when the instrument is finished and the player gets it, it's fulfilling.
Right.
And the whole thing with that is picking the customer's brain when a customer comes here, the artist, whoever, and finding out what the artist likes, what the customer likes, and then so we can guide the whole process.
I know, I've been through it twice.
And get it, get it right.
Yeah.
Rather than have the experience be a negative experience at the end, we want it to be positive. So we're always asking questions, millions of questions.
We care what you want.
Yeah, we really do. And we
yeah.
care what we want.
Right.
We don't want to have instruments out there that people are going to buy them and then say, oh, the experience was it's not so great.
Right.
You want positive feedback.
Yeah,
we
we
want
want
to build.
positives.
We want to build the artist space. It's
Yeah.
not about building our version of things. It's
Right,
about
it's not,
what do you
I'm
want.
not going to put, we're not
what
going
do
to
you
push
need?
what we feel, our philosophy, but, we're musicians, I'm a bass
Right.
player, Jason's a bass player, and he's a guitar player. So we want the same thing that everybody else wants,
Right.
and that's been since day one. That's how we started this company. We started it like that because we didn't want to say, well, this is what we build, and you have to accept it. It doesn't
Right.
work like that. We're all different, and everybody has a different set of needs. That's why there's so many different woods involved.
Yep.
Because what I like,
So
what
many
you like, what
woods,
Jason
so many
likes, what
models, scale
Yeah.
lengths.
So, and over the years working with the artists, our relationships have been so, it's a big family. We turned into like a big family.
Right.
And, it's not as if we only care about Fodera. We care about your career and you care about us and we work together. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
your
right.
business is my business, my
Right.
business is your business.
Sure.
That type of thing. And
It's true.
it's been so great because it's, it turned into a big family.
Right.
And that's what the three of us, that's what we like.
It's funny. Last night I was with a customer who's about to build a bass, and it was a very frenetic day here yesterday. So I'm calling him last night at 6:45, apologizing for not having gotten back to him sooner. But it's hard to describe. It doesn't ever feel like work to talk to an artist about building a
Right,
bass for them.
right,
It's
right.
fun.
Absolutely.
What's your idea? What tones do you like? What are you playing now? Why do you want to get a Fodera? And so that process that helps make their instrument theirs, that's half the fun.
And do
Yeah,
people
you know what?
reference like albums to you of
Yeah,
sounds they've
absolutely.
heard?
Yeah, all the time.
Absolutely. I ask
All the
him,
time.
because with tone, your warm and fat is my bloated,
Right.
and your tight and articulate is my austere and sterile.
Right.
So, or whatever it is. So
Right.
what we always try to do is say, especially if it's an artist that has recorded themselves, send us some tracks of stuff that you love.
Right.
Send us things that you think define what you'd want your bass to sound like, because that's easy. You can get on that and find. We can sit together 9 times out of 10, the three of us will agree 100% on how to build a bass
Yeah.
to hear based on a tone that we hear.
Right.
But we could each talk to the same customer using words and come up with different ideas, because words are inherently
It's a
limited.
challenge.
Yeah.
It's a big challenge for us as builders,
Right.
and we love it.
Yeah.
We get involved. And we take all the positive feedback and the negative stuff. When there's negative stuff searching, the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
We get involved in that.
Right.
Also, when somebody's talking something they don't really understand, like somebody will get a bass,
Right.
they'll just buy it. The guy for some reason, it's not really its source, there.
Maybe they get it used or something.
Well, that's one of the
Yeah.
biggest problems
They don't
we have.
understand
It's
it.
like
Most
buying
of the
another
times they don't
person's custom
understand.
tailored suit.
Right.
It might not be right for them.
It's like when you give somebody a fine glass of wine, they say,
Right.
it's not all what it's cracked up to be, because they don't really understand,
Right.
how to sort of drink a fine glass of wine.
Right.
And that's what, our instruments are like that. Some guys get them and maybe they buy them in the store, or they buy it used, and it's not properly set up. You go inside, one guy.
Well, I'm an example of that because I've had my new bass for a year and I only just learned how to use the electronics in it.
and it was kind of like, it's something positive, it's something that came out of that,
Yeah.
And you'll take it to another level now, you'll
But
bring it to another
especially with the woods and the feel, every neck that we carve is different. Yes, we have a standard profile if a customer doesn't want something different. But even then, they're all hand carved. So you'll get a guy, one of the basses that's here today is the thickest neck that we've ever carved. It's the chunkiest neck that we've ever carved in our history.
Old jazz
Now-
bass neck or something.
Oh, it makes that
Or
look.
bigger.
I mean, it's like a
More like a
softball bat.
baseball bat.
Yeah. And so,
But it's
by
gonna
way of
sound
example, it's going to sound amazing.
Right.
And that's what that customer wants. You can see it. It's right over there. You could see that neck, how
Holy
thick it
crap.
is.
The Louisville Slugger.
Exactly. I mean, that
That's
is
his name, Louis.
that's the thickest neck that we've ever carved. Now the problem is, if this customer for some reason at some point parts with that bass and it goes back out into the world, the customer that buys it that wants a thin, fast neck gets that and says, "What's what's wrong with these people at
Right,
Fodera? This is terrible.
Yeah, that's
You
one
know,
of the.
that's one of the
some people
downsides of
don't
being
have-
a custom shop.
I don't know if they don't have, they don't think of calling us or email. Now, especially the world's very small, the internet,
Right.
Yeah.
telephone, whatever. And people, if they only took the time out to say, give these guys a call
Right.
and ask them some questions about the instrument.
Right.
Which now, since Jason's been involved in that, the communication has
Right.
been a lot better.
And it's
And,
amazing. I mean,
That's
you-
key moving
So a
forward.
lot,
Well,
lots of
anything, I
times,
mean-
lots of times we get the people will call us and we'll find out. Because we used to get these crazy requests to build these instruments, and then we started thinking we needed the money,
Right.
we wanted to do it, and
Right.
we would build the instrument. But then later on, the instrument would get sold.
Right.
And the instrument has our name on it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's got our name on it, and maybe it gets into the wrong hands, and it's, these things are not cracked up, they're not
Yeah.
all what they're cracked up to be.
Sure.
So now we're a lot more careful with that.
So quality control.
Yeah,
in terms of, or
we always
consistency.
had,
with-
we always had the quality control.
Right.
But
like,
part
you
of it
know,
is deciding what instruments to
Yeah, like
build.
what the instrument was made out of.
Which commissions to
Yeah,
take.
we
Right.
get these guys that
That's
want,
right.
want us to use certain, to change our philosophy as far
Right.
as like what the woods, what we want to use and what we want, how we want to build the instrument, pickup spacing versus circuitry and this and
Right.
that, And it wasn't always the best thing to do. And we would do it to satisfy the customer because, you want to satisfy the customer. You want his end result to be okay.
Yeah.
But, not everybody would take, like the first thing, as soon as trouble arises, the first thing they bail on is the instrument.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
And then it gets out there, and then it gets into somebody's hands, and somebody would say, this thing is not what I thought.
Right.
So we like to be in contact. We're crazy because these things are like our kids, so we want to be in contact with everybody.
That's absolutely right.
We take it very personal.
These are
We-
some of the downsides.
Yeah, we take the whole process very personal. And when
Well, that's
something's
good. I mean, I don't see that as a bad thing. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
it's
that's
actually
that's
very
really-
lovely.
Yeah, I
It's
see that.
very
it's the reason why we're all here.
We
we're all here
learn from
because
those experiences.
we understand what
We
what
don't do that
this is
anymore. Like
about.
by way of example, if someone wants to, we had a request for a 29-inch scale 9-string. I didn't even bring it to Joey and Vinny. I just basically said, that's really not in our swing zone.
Right,
That's
right,
not
right.
something that we're prepared to do. I guess in the old days, maybe we would have tried it or, tried to steer them in a direction, and then you may end up making an instrument that you regret having made.
Right.
And that's one of the big
Sometimes
responsibilities.
it's dangerous to do that.
Right, right.
Because even the customer,
9-string.
the person commissioning such a piece
Right.
has an expectation.
That you can't possibly meet.
But
Right, right.
this thing doesn't exist.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we build it, we go
Well, I
crazy,
think-
and then
I
they're
think
not
every
happy with
builder,
it. So we
every
have to
builder
balance.
has,
Has that.
Yeah.
had experiences like that.
Yeah, that's
Being
part of our
Jellicoe,
process.
It is.
Quisto,
I know that's your consistency and quality control and philosophy is why I go to places. I mean, seriously, I remember the first time I came in here 10 years ago. I was like,
Yeah.
pick up one bass, play one note. I was like,
That's
God,
So that's great. Thank
And
you.
and we've worked together over the last 10 years. It's been awesome.
Well, I tell you, you've been a great guy to have in our family.
I appreciate it. Man. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this.
You come to the NAMM show, you play, sit there all day and play. He's
And you
he's
do
a
some
Fodera
damn
guy.
good
He is.
cartridges.
He really is. No, I gotta
He's
say,
a great
he-
musician,
he's
and
a great-
also a great magician.
That's right. He's been Janek's been great for us.
That's
We're
what
happy to
makes
have
it
him in our
great.
family.
We're blessed to be around people like you that know our instruments
Yep.
and are incredible musicians. And every time we're in the room with someone like yourself, we learn. And it's a constant process.
It's a great feedback loop.
Just like a
I
symbiotic
get
relationship.
inspired by guys. Yeah, really.
Well,
It
long,
gives me
long,
a
may
purpose.
long may the loop keep feeding back.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Amen.
And yeah.
You gotta go light on his damaged
Gotta go light on
hand.
the damaged hand. But yeah, so iBass Magazine, thank you so much. And this
Thank
has
you.
been Fodera.